Over the last 9 years, I've walked 16 Caminos. I've learned a lot about what I like to pack and what I don't like to pack to keep me comfortable along the way. Here's my list of 8 things I don't pack anymore and what I bring instead. I'm Lainey, and this is Days We Spend. On my very first Camino in 2017, I wore really heavy hiking boots. And I loved these hiking boots. They took me to the top of Kilimanjaro. I hiked all around New York State in them, and I thought they were amazing boots for the Camino, but they weren't. For the type of terrain on the Camino Frances, you don't need heavy hiking boots, and my feet suffered for that. I had blisters, my boots got wet because they were Gore-Tex and just took a week to dry, so I got more blisters. The boots being so heavy gave me Achilles tendonitis, and I almost quit the Camino because my feet and lower legs were in so much pain. There are sections of the Camino Frances that a boot is nice, but most days, 95% of the days, you don't need that. So now I hike all of my Caminos in a trail runner because so much of the routes on the Camino de Santiago are asphalt. You're on a road or you're on a dirt path or a gravel path, and the trails are a lot more accessible to the average person walking rather than the mountain adventure hiker. So trail runner for me is absolutely sufficient. It's got the right amount of padding I need for the long days on concrete, and it's lightweight so that I don't need to worry about carrying extra weight on my body with every step you're taking over the course of your entire Camino. The other reason I love trail runners is when they get wet, they dry overnight, so I never have to deal with wet shoes the next day. This next one's a little controversial because I still love this item, but I've slowly stopped using it for my Caminos, and that's a water bladder. Water bladders are so useful for carrying 2 liters of water on your back, and it's a very comfortable position to carry that. A lot of backpacks even have special pockets for your water bladder, and they have little holes to put the tube out so that you're always drinking. And I love that I can just constantly sip water and I'm not worried about feeling dehydrated. But the biggest con of a water bladder is you don't know how much you're actually drinking because you can't see how much you've been drinking. The only way to check how much water you have left is to either deconstruct your bag to get out the water bladder or like rip open the pocket that has the bladder and pull the whole thing out to check. And then when you refill it, it's usually a kind of messy process just because of the nature of how they close. So while I love a water bladder for day hikes or maybe a shorter Camino, when I have to check on how much water I have day after day after day, it's much easier to do that with a different type of water system. So now I've switched to using a running vest style backpack or a running vest in general, and I use water flasks for that. And so that way I constantly can monitor how much water I have because I can see it, I can feel it because it's right on the front of my body. And then if I do need it, I have an extra bottle on the side for those days where I know there's not a lot of fountains to refill. But it's so much easier to constantly refill my bottles when I need to rather than carry a bunch from the beginning and hope I have enough. My first 2 Caminos, I wore performance travel underwear. Travel performance underwear is typically something that is made of polyester or a synthetic. It's usually some kind of special texture to the cloth so that it's a little more breathable given the fabric. And it's often treated with some kind of antimicrobial spray so that it doesn't harbor as much stains, smells, and odors and bacteria. 10 years ago, these were the gold standard of travel. Like you wanted special travel underwear, especially if you're wearing the same underwear day after day after day. But now there's so many better alternatives. I mean, look at how ratty these are. I've stopped wearing these long ago. I just have them as like the emergency pair in the back of my closet, but like, look at how gross this got. Like it's all pilled. And even though they say they're sweat wicking, I still found myself really sweaty and sometimes having some issues with things that happen down there. And the same goes for sports bras. I found that a synthetic sports bra dried quickly when I washed it, but it was so hot to wear during the day. I'd have so much sweat in my whole bust region and everything would just feel really gross. And I didn't smell really great by the time I got to the albergues. So since those first 2 Caminos where I wore synthetics, I switched to wearing merino wool underwear and bras. And my favorite brand that I always wear for both my underwear and bra is Brandwin Merino. So why merino wool? People ask, is it itchy? No, it's not itchy. It's a totally different type of sheep than like your average wool sweater. It's a much finer fiber that is much more gentle on skin. And for most people, it's not itchy at all. all. Merino wool can absorb up to 35% of its weight in moisture before it starts to feel wet, which means it's pulling the sweat away from your skin, keeping you cool without feeling like the garment is getting wet. And that's really important to me on the Camino because I get really, really sweaty. It's also odor resistant, so when you're walking into town at the end of the day and you're all sweaty, you are not going to smell. I hand wash my underwear every day and they're quick drying, so I never have to worry about putting on wet underwear in the morning at the albergue. And because merino wool is odor resistant, I can just hang my bra up and let it air out. So I don't have to wash that every day. I only wash that maybe every 5 or 6 days, maybe a little more frequently if it's a particularly sweaty day. Of the 16 Caminos I've walked, 14 of them have been with Brandwin underwear and bra, and I can't imagine doing a Camino without them. I just love them so much. I have so many different styles, and it just depends on what I feel like wearing, whether I want to wear the bralette for a little more minimal support, or the sports bra when I want a lot more coverage and support, or the busty bra when I want something kind of in the middle. There's also a variety of underwear styles, such as the boys shorts if you want a lot of coverage, which I really like for sleeping in the albergue because I'm just sleeping in my t-shirt and my underwear. Oftentimes I like to hike in the bikini cut because this is the one that I find is most comfortable for my body. They have a couple other styles on their website, as well as compression leggings and shorts, which are also awesome. I don't like to hike in leggings personally, but if you're a leggings hiker, I would definitely recommend you check out the Brandwin ones. Merino wool is a really great fabric for both summer and winter. It's temperature regulating because it's a natural fiber, and so you're not going to get overly hot in summer and you're not going to get overly cold in winter. One of my favorite aspects about the Brandwin Merino products is that it doubles as swimwear, so I don't need to pack a swimsuit. I can swim at the beach, I can jump in the pool, and I'm gonna have a great time without carrying the extra weight of a swimsuit. There are lots of other brands that make merino wool underwear, but the reason I really like Brandwin and I constantly keep coming back to them is because the way that their underwear and bras are constructed. They use a seamless design, which I've never seen on any other brand, because they're constructed on these specialized like 3-dimensional knitting machines. So the material and the garment is made at the same time, which eliminates waste because they're not putting together pieces from a roll of fabric. The fabric and the garment are made simultaneously. And because it's seamless, it's really, really comfortable. There's no chafing or rubbing from the seams. There's less places for the garment to break down over time, so it's gonna have more longevity because seams are the first place where a garment usually starts to fray. That also means when you're wearing your backpack, the seams aren't digging into you, and it's just a lot more comfortable. This construction design also means that Brandwin's fabrics are constructed of 75 to 85% merino wool, which is an incredibly high wool content. Because not all merino wool is created equal, you'll want to look at how much percentage it is, because something could be marketed as merino wool, but it's only 15% merino, and you're getting scammed if that's what you're paying for. I love that Brandwin's products are free of forever chemicals. They're OECOTEX certified with responsible wool standard and wool mark certifications. They're also BPA and PFA free, which means there's no hormone disrupting chemicals, which is a really important thing when you're sweating in your underwear that's closest to your skin. So after the 14 Caminos of wearing Brandwin merino underwear and bras, I just can't imagine switching to anything else ever. And I love wearing them in my daily life too. I'm wearing one right now. It's their new bra. If you're looking to upgrade your underwear and bra for hiking, Brandwin is an excellent choice. It is worth the cost and investment per piece because they're going to last you a long time. And I just find myself reaching for them in my underwear drawer day after day. There's links to everything I've talked about in the description below, including all the specific Brandwin gear that I love. In almost every Camino packing list you'll see online in the whole wide world, everyone seems to recommend a headlamp. And I used to carry one of these. And then I realized that it would just sit at the bottom of my backpack for most of the trip. And I'd only use it for 2 or 3 days of 30. And then I felt like I was dragging around this extra weight. This is a headlamp that I've just had for a long, long time. And so I never thought to upgrade to a lighter weight one, because why would I do that if I'm not using it very frequently? But you don't really need a headlamp on the Camino. If you're someone who plans to leave the albergue long before dawn every day, maybe you want a headlamp, but I am not that type of hiker. I will never be that type of hiker. Unless it's a heat wave, you can't get me out the door until it's right before sunrise, and then you won't need that headlamp. And honestly, honestly, I prefer hiking that way. I'm not feeling like I'm missing out on the scenery because it's the dark. It's kind of dangerous to walk in the dark. So I know some people love hiking in those like hour before dawn, but I do not recommend it. And therefore I don't need a headlamp. For the rare days that I do need a headlamp, I just use my phone flashlight and I just stick it in the pocket of my waist belt or my waist bag, and therefore the light shines onto trail instead of into people's eyeballs. Some people think they need the headlamp to pack their stuff up in the albergues, and you don't. I just pack things as much as I can the night before. You scoop it all up in the morning and take your stuff to the common space to pack, because no one wants to be woken up by you packing in the albergue and your light shining everywhere looking for the stuff that you think you lost under your bed. If I was hiking a winter Camino, I would maybe pack a headlamp only for safety reasons, because it gets dark so early and it doesn't get light in the morning until quite late. Every time I travel, whether it's a Camino or a regular trip, I keep a travel journal. And I used to write every day in a physical journal on the Camino. And I would carry a little pen and a journal. And it was very nice to take the time to physically write something. But when I switched to using a running vest, one of the first things that I took out of my packing list was my journal. Because instead of doing this in a paper version, I now use a digital version. So I just use my phone and Google Docs, and I just have a document for each different Camino. And it's really nice in digital version actually, because I can write it out of order. I can add things that I forgot. I can dictate into my phone as I'm walking and talk about what I wanted to say and capture that moment a little bit more so I don't forget until like the end of the day when I'm writing a recap. It's not as nice to be like on your phone all the time, but I find that the sacrifice is great because I'm not carrying something around that I'm worried about getting wet, and I constantly have access to the journal because it's on my phone. I remember when I first made the switch, I was emotionally kind of like stuck and grounded into like, oh, I'm gonna really miss the physical journal. But once I actually made the switch, I'm really happy I did, because even now when I'm packing a larger backpack, I still use the digital version and I don't bring a notebook anymore. I used to hike in a t-shirt and then bring a separate sun shirt that was long sleeves. And that was kind of my sun protection, except I didn't always wear the separate sun shirt. It's just how I hiked since I was a kid. I would always have like an overshirt as I have a layer here, and it's for sun protection too. But the problem is when you really need the sun protection, it's hottest time of day. And that meant I wasn't wearing my extra layer because I was too hot to wear a shirt and a shirt on top of it. So instead, I made the switch to wearing a sun hoodie. This is a synthetic sun hoodie from Jolly Gear. It does the job of a t-shirt and a sun protection long sleeve shirt with the added bonus of a hood to keep my neck protected. This one is specifically of a very breathable synthetic fabric, and that means I'm not getting overly hot when the UV index is at its highest. We made a whole video about sun hoodies and why we love them, so you can check that out for a lot more details. I used to pack mobility tools such as like a cork ball or a foam roller water bottle. And these are so useful and lovely for keeping yourself feeling good and healthy on trail, but I found that I lose them. I never lost this. This was just kind of really bulky to pack.
I gave it to her as a present.
I'll never lose this. This is not that heavy, but it's quite bulky, so it takes a lot of room in my bag. But the cork ball, I have lost them. This is our second or third one, because sometimes they tend to roll under the bed and you don't remember that happened until you're 2 towns away. So instead of losing objects and carrying extra pieces that I sometimes don't remember to use because like the albergue floor is just kind of gross and I don't want to use them, or maybe it's raining and there's no patch of grass to use outside. So instead, I will just use my hiking pole. And you can use your hiking pole kind of as like a foam roller type of thing to physically roll out your own calves or your quads. And the other thing is I just do some self-massage, and I just massage my own feet at the end of the day, or Sean and I will take turns massaging each other's feet. So I'm not sacrificing giving up self-care. I'm just doing it in a different way. Rather than bringing tools that are extra in my packing list, I'm using something I already have. I used to bring a reusable tote bag, and this is kind of controversial because it's great to bring reusable tote bags, especially if you already have them. But I found that I would sometimes be afraid of losing this, and it's not waterproof. So if I'm walking back to the albergue in the rain, everything gets wet in this, and then this bag is wet. So instead of bringing an extra reusable tote bag for getting groceries or, walking around town, I just use a plastic bag that I already have. As a habit, I don't get plastic plastic bags from the grocery store, but you know, there's always that time where you forgot your bags or you needed to pick up something in an emergency and you have a plastic bag. So instead, I'm just going to use a plastic bag because it's smaller, lighter, takes up less space, and it's also waterproof. So I can use it as an extra layer of protection if something gets wet in my bag or I want to keep something dry. So those are the 8 things I no longer pack and the things I bring instead or don't bring that I've learned after walking 16 Camino routes. I live in Spain, so I feel really fortunate that I've been able to walk all of these routes, and I hope to walk a lot more in the future, but you know I won't be carrying the things I mentioned in this video. My packing list has evolved a lot over the years, and it's just mostly small little tweaks here and there, and I expect it to continue to evolve because every Camino requires maybe something slightly different based on the route you're taking and the time of year that you walk. So take these guidelines and apply them to your situation. If you've got questions, you can ask them in the comments below. I have a video on budget Camino gear if you want some of those recommendations, as well as an entire playlist of Camino packing lists if you want to see all the different things that I brought over the years. I'm Lainey. Thank you so much for spending this day with me. Buen Camino, peregrinas.